Last time I talked about unsteady walking, I heard from many of you, hundreds of comments, all saying the same thing. Don't just explain the exercises, show them. And you were absolutely right. So today, I'm correcting that. In this video, every single exercise will be demonstrated clearly, step by step, so there's zero confusion about what to do and how to do it. But before we jump into exercises, we need to understand something important. Think about 3 people who cannot walk in a straight line: a stroke survivor, someone who has had too much to drink, and an 11-month-old baby learning to stand. All 3 are unstable, all 3 wobble, but the cause in each case is completely different, and that's where most people go wrong. Because when they start feeling unsteady, their first instinct is to blame their legs. They start doing squats, they take supplements, they search for random balance exercises, and nothing changes. Why? Because the problem is not in the legs. If you feel like you drift while walking, if you lose balance on flat ground, if you can't maintain a straight path, this is not a leg issue. This is a brain issue. More specifically, it's related to how well your brain, especially a part called the cerebellum, is functioning. Your body is like hardware: muscles, joints, bones, all powerful, well-built systems. But hardware alone does nothing without control. The brain is the control center, and the cerebellum is responsible for coordination and balance. It constantly receives signals from your eyes, inner ear, muscles, and joints, and every second it makes tiny corrections to keep you stable. When this system works perfectly, walking feels automatic, but when it doesn't, even slightly, you start to wobble. Now here's something most people don't realize. Walking is actually controlled falling. Every step you take, your body moves forward into a fall, and your leg catches you, again and again. That timing must be precise. If the timing is off even slightly, you stumble. This is why toddlers fall, not because they are weak, but because their brain hasn't learned coordination yet. Over time, the brain adapts, but later in life, the opposite can happen. Coordination begins to decline again, not because you forgot how to walk, but because your brain isn't getting optimal support, especially blood flow. The brain uses about 20% of your body's oxygen. Even a small drop in blood supply affects performance. And when that happens, you don't just feel it in walking. You may also notice short-term memory issues, mental fatigue, brain fog. For example, you walk into a room and forget why you went there, or you feel mentally drained much earlier than before, or your thinking feels slower, less sharp. These are not random symptoms. They are connected. Now let's talk about something crucial. Why the neck? Because the blood supply to the balance centers of your brain travels through your neck. There are arteries that pass directly through the cervical vertebrae and then supply the back part of the brain, including the cerebellum. If there is stiffness, tension, or restriction in the neck, it can affect this blood flow. Not suddenly, but slowly over time. And that's enough to affect coordination. So the goal is simple: restore proper movement in the neck and train the brain again. 2 parts. Now let's move to the first part: neck release. Most people stretch their neck the wrong way. They pull, tilt, or roll aggressively. But the real problem areas are the base of the neck, the uppermost vertebrae. So instead of random stretching, we use controlled, targeted movements. Start by finding the base of your neck, the most prominent bone. From there, apply gentle pressure while slowly rotating your head, not forcing, just guiding. You should feel light resistance, not pain. This improves mobility in the exact area that matters. Next, we move to muscle stretching. Place your hand on your collarbone and gently pull it downward. Tilt your head in the opposite direction and slightly lift your chin. You'll feel a stretch along the front and side of your neck. Hold it gently, no sharp pain. Then switch sides. Finish with light massage along the neck muscles. This combination helps release tension and improve circulation. Now comes the second part: training the brain. Because once blood flow improves, the brain needs stimulation. First exercise: stand with feet shoulder-width apart. Begin rotating your hips in a slow circular motion. Let your legs naturally follow. Then add arm movements, different rhythms, different directions. It will feel awkward at first. That's good. That's your brain learning. Second exercise, pick a fixed point in front of you. Turn your body, but keep your eyes locked on that point as long as possible. Then quickly refocus after turning. This trains your balance system and reduces dizziness. Third exercise, advanced. Controlled spinning. Start slowly. Build tolerance. This challenges your inner ear and coordination system deeply. Over time, your brain adapts. And when it does, balance improves naturally. Consistency is key. Small daily practice creates real change. Not overnight, but steadily. And once your brain adapts, walking becomes stable again without you even thinking about it. But here's the part most people never hear. Stability is not something you get once and keep forever. It's something your brain maintains daily. Just like strength, just like flexibility, just like memory. Coordination is a living system. If you challenge it, it improves. If you ignore it, it slowly fades. And the dangerous part is, it fades quietly, not all at once, not in a way that alarms you. Just small changes. You take a slightly wider step without noticing. You look down more when you walk. You avoid uneven ground. You hold on to railings more often. You adapt around the problem instead of fixing it. And over time, that adaptation becomes your new normal. This is why so many people say, I just feel less steady than I used to. Not dizzy, not injured, just less stable. And they accept it. But you shouldn't, because what you're really feeling is a system that has stopped being challenged. Your cerebellum thrives on challenge. It needs variation. It needs unpredictability. It needs movement that forces it to think, adjust, and respond. So here's where we go deeper. Because doing the exercises I showed you is just the beginning. To truly rebuild stability, you need to change how you move throughout your entire day. Let me show you what that looks like. Start with something simple. When you walk, stop walking passively. Most people walk on autopilot, head forward, eyes down. Same pace, same pattern, day after day. Instead, start introducing awareness. Pick a straight line, like the edge of a sidewalk, and walk along it. Not like a tightrope performer, but with intention. Feel your steps. Notice your weight shifting. That alone activates your cerebellum more than normal walking ever will. Now take it further. Change your speed. Walk slowly for 10 steps, then faster, then slow again. This forces your brain to constantly adjust timing. Remember, walking is controlled falling. Change the speed, and you change the challenge. Next step, turn your head while walking. Look left, look right. Keep moving forward. This introduces a coordination demand between your visual system and your balance system. At first, it may feel slightly uncomfortable. That's not a bad sign. That's training. Now here's another layer most people ignore. Your environment. Flat, predictable surfaces are easy. Your brain doesn't need to work hard. So you need to occasionally change that. Walk on grass. Walk on slightly uneven ground. Walk on surfaces that are not perfectly stable. Not dangerously, just enough to challenge your system. Because every variation forces your cerebellum to recalibrate, and recalibration is growth. Now let's talk about something even more important, confidence. Because balance is not just physical, it's psychological. The moment you start doubting your stability, your body reacts. You stiffen, your steps become cautious, your movement becomes rigid. And ironically, that makes you less stable. Fluid movement is stable movement. Rigid movement is fragile. So part of this process is retraining your confidence. Not blindly, but gradually. You expose yourself to controlled challenges, and you prove to your brain, I can handle this. And each time you succeed, your confidence builds. And as confidence builds, movement becomes natural again. Now let's address something critical, progress. Most people quit too early. They try exercises for a few days, maybe a week, and when they don't feel a dramatic change, they stop. But that's not how the brain works. Neuroplasticity is powerful, but it requires repetition, consistency, daily input. Think of it like learning a language. You don't become fluent in a week, but every day you practice, your brain rewires. Slowly, then suddenly, something clicks, and you realize you're better than before. The same applies here. At first, movements feel awkward, uncoordinated, frustrating, but that awkwardness is the signal of progress. It means your brain is working. If everything feels easy, you're not improving. So don't chase comfort, chase challenge. Controlled, safe challenge. Now let's go one level deeper again, because there's another factor affecting your stability that most people completely ignore. Breathing. Yes, breathing. Your brain depends on oxygen, and the way you breathe directly affects how much oxygen reaches your brain. Shallow breathing, fast breathing, chest-dominant breathing, all of these reduce efficiency. And over time, they contribute to reduced brain performance, including coordination. So start paying attention. Breathe slowly, through your nose. Let your diaphragm expand. Deep, controlled breathing supports better oxygen delivery. And better oxygen means better brain function. It's simple but powerful. Now combine that with movement. Walk while maintaining calm, steady breathing. You'll notice something interesting. Your movement becomes smoother, more controlled, more stable, because everything is connected. Now let's talk about posture, because posture is not just about appearance. It directly affects your balance system. When your head is pushed forward, your neck is under constant tension. And remember, your neck is the pathway for blood flow to your brain. Poor posture means constant low-level restriction. So correct it, not aggressively, not by forcing yourself into a stiff position, but by gently aligning your body. Head over shoulders, shoulders relaxed, spine neutral. This alone can make a noticeable difference over time. Now imagine combining everything we've discussed: neck mobility, coordination training, movement awareness, environmental variation, breathing, posture. This is not just an exercise routine. This is a system, a complete approach to restoring stability. And when you follow a system, results are not random. They are predictable. Now, let me ask you something. How many times have you ignored a small symptom until it became a bigger problem? A slight imbalance, a minor discomfort, a small warning sign. We tend to wait, we delay, we hope it goes away. But your body is always communicating with you, and instability is one of those signals. Not something to fear, but something to respond to, early. Because early correction is always easier, always faster, always more effective. Now picture two paths. One person ignores the problem, adapts, moves less, avoids challenges, and slowly becomes more unstable over time. The other person takes action, understands the cause, trains consistently, and gradually restores function. Both paths start the same, but they lead to completely different outcomes. So the question is not, can this improve? The question is, will you do what's required to improve it? Because now you understand the mechanism, you understand the solution, and you have the tools. The only thing left is action, and not tomorrow, not next week, today, even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it feels small. Because small actions, repeated daily, create massive change over time. And one day, you'll notice something subtle. You're walking, and you're not thinking about it. No hesitation, no correction, no fear, just smooth, natural, effortless movement. And in that moment, you'll realize something powerful. Your body didn't fail you. It just needed the right input. And once you gave it that, it responded exactly the way it was designed to. And that realization changes everything. Because for a long time, many people believe their body is breaking down, that aging automatically means decline, that instability is just something to live with, that feeling off balance is normal after a certain point. But it's not that simple. Your body is not designed to fail you randomly. It's designed to adapt, always. The only question is, adapt to what? If you give it stillness, it adapts to stillness. If you give it poor posture, it adapts to that. If you give it no challenge, it becomes less capable. But if you give it the right input, it rebuilds, it recalibrates, it improves. And that's the part most people underestimate. They underestimate how powerful, consistent, correct input really is. Not extreme effort, not complicated routines, just the right actions repeated over time. Now, let's take a moment to understand something deeper. Because what you're really doing here is not just improving balance, you're improving communication between your brain and your body. Every step you take is a conversation. Signals go up from your feet, your joints, your muscles, and signals come down from your brain, adjusting, correcting, guiding. When that communication is clear, movement feels effortless. When it's disrupted, everything feels harder, slower, less certain. So these exercises, these movements, they are restoring clarity. They are strengthening that connection again. And once that connection improves, you don't just walk better, you move better in everything. You turn more smoothly, you react faster, you feel more in control of your body. And that control creates something even more valuable: freedom. Freedom to move without fear. Freedom to go where you want without hesitation. Freedom to trust your body again. And that's something no supplement can give you. No shortcut can replace it. It has to be built, step by step. Now, let's talk about something people rarely admit: fear of falling. Even a small moment of instability can plant a seed of doubt, and once that doubt is there, it grows quietly. You start being more careful, more cautious. You avoid certain movements, certain places, and over time, your world becomes smaller. Not because you can't move, but because you don't trust your movement. That's the real cost. Not just physical instability, but lost confidence. And here's the important part. Confidence doesn't come back by thinking. It comes back by doing, by exposing yourself to safe, controlled challenges and proving to yourself again and again, I can handle this. That's how the brain rewires fear. That's how you rebuild trust in your own body. Now let's go even deeper, because there's another layer to all of this: your attention. Where your focus goes, your stability follows. If your attention is scattered, your movement becomes less precise. If your attention is present, your coordination improves. So when you practice, be fully there. Feel each movement. Notice each shift. Don't rush through it, because awareness itself is training, and over time, that awareness becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it anymore. It just becomes part of how you move. Now imagine what happens after weeks of consistent practice. Your neck moves freely. Blood flow improves. Your cerebellum becomes more active, more responsive. Your movements become smoother, your reactions become faster. And gradually, without any dramatic moment, you realize something has changed. You're not correcting your steps anymore. You're not thinking about balance. You're just moving, naturally, effortlessly, the way you used to. And maybe even better, because now you understand your body in a way you didn't before. Now, let's address one final point, because this matters. There will be days when it feels like nothing is improving, days when your movements feel off again, days when you question whether this is working. That's normal. Progress is not a straight line. It moves forward, then plateaus, sometimes even feels like it's going backward, before it moves forward again. That's how adaptation works. So don't judge your progress by a single day. Look at the trend. Look at where you were 2 weeks ago, a month ago. That's where the real change shows. And if you stay consistent, there is only one direction this goes: forward. Now bring everything together. You started with understanding. You learned that instability is not just about muscles, but about the brain. You learned that the neck plays a key role, that blood flow matters, that coordination can be trained, that the brain can adapt at any age. You learned the exercises, you learned how to apply them, and more importantly, you learned why they work. Because when you understand the why, you're far more likely to stay consistent with the how, and consistency is everything. So from here, it becomes simple. Not easy, but simple. Show up daily, move with intention, challenge your coordination, take care of your neck, breathe properly, stay aware, and trust the process. Because your body is not working against you. It's waiting for direction. Give it the right direction, and it will respond every single time. Maybe not instantly, maybe not dramatically, but steadily, reliably, and in a way that lasts. So don't look for quick fixes. Don't look for shortcuts. Look for progress. Small, real, repeatable progress. Because that's what creates lasting change. And one day, you'll walk across a room, across a street, across uneven ground, without thinking twice. No hesitation, no adjustment, no fear, just movement. Smooth, controlled, natural movement. And in that moment, You won't just feel stable, you'll feel capable, you'll feel confident, you'll feel like yourself again. And that's the goal. Not perfection, not unrealistic expectations, just restoring what your body is already capable of. So start, right now, even if it's just one exercise, even if it's just a few minutes, because the moment you start, you've already changed direction, and that direction leads you back to stability, back to control, back to confidence, one step at a time, exactly the way it was meant to be. And once you experience that difference for yourself, you won't need motivation anymore, because results will replace it. And when results replace motivation, consistency becomes effortless. And when consistency becomes effortless, transformation becomes inevitable. So keep going, keep practicing, keep challenging your system. Because everything you're building right now is not temporary. It's a foundation, a stronger, more responsive, more reliable version of your body, one that supports you every single day, without you even having to think about it. And that's where real change lives. Not in quick bursts, but in what becomes automatic, in what becomes part of you. So stay with it, trust it, and let your body do what it was always designed to do: adapt, recover, and move with strength, precision, and confidence again.